Well, good evening, and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors, Getting Your House in Order series. I'm your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. So, thank you so much for joining us for our third episode of your Getting Your House in Order series. Special thanks to firefighter, Quan Jackson. That was such a great segment. We learned about stop, drop, and rock, which is more effective for getting fires out. I received some messages that some needed to get a fire extinguisher, and please do get one. It never hurts to be prepared just in case. And again, I learned what the acronyms were. PASS is pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. And then we have RACE. That's rescue, alarm, contain, extinguish. I didn't know what those were, but it's all right. It's all right. Okay, so it was a very informative segment. So be sure to watch that replay in case you missed it. As always, I want to just say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. I truly, truly appreciate your feedback. So tonight we're going to talk about getting your house in order again, but tonight we're going to talk about credit repair. I remember as a freshman at UMES in the Student Support Center, I think that's what it was called, they had tables set up. And I mean, they were looking for fresh meat. And we were excited, because we heard, I could get a card. I could buy what I want with this card and then just pay it back. That's all. That's cool. It's that simple. But if it was that simple, I wish I knew now what I knew then. Just playing. I mean, I didn't get a card then. I did try when I was 18. I was really excited. It did not go very far though. But tonight I wanted us to learn some tips on how to restore our credit, how to build our credit, and how to maybe pay off some debt. So tonight we have hello, my PJ. It was a great segment indeed, and I hope that you got your fire extinguisher. Wait a minute, that might be a good Christmas gift. I got you covered. Okay, but tonight we have to close our third episode. We're going to talk about credit repair with special guest Enasha Bradshaw. So help me welcome Miss Enasha Bradshaw. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited for tonight. I'm excited to share a lot of free information and tips. And everybody getting their house in order. I love it. We don't have to wait until the springtime to do this. We can do this now.
Don't wait till the springtime. Do it right now. And we have to be on the brink of a new year, so it's even better to get your mind right now. Prepare your heart and soul for it now, because we want to get some things together. And hopefully even during this quarantine experience, we've been either saving some money or having Mr. Amazon and Mr. Brown come and drop off some more boxes. We got to be careful, especially if it was a credit card, and we'll get to talk about that. So we always start off here with a quote of the day. So today's quote of the day is, "You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading today." Abraham Lincoln. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Oh, I love the quote, because so many times we say like, hey, I'll handle it later. I'll get to it later. And I love the fact that we just had that whole experience with learning about fire safety, because we wait until it's a big fire and then we want us to work miracles. We want the Lord to come in and, oh, Lord, I want to get this house. Lord, you said you would bless me. I need a car. And it's like, well, wait. He sent somebody for you. And a lot of times I equate it to, it's funny because I equate it to the joke I heard many years ago. And they talk about the guy who was drowning in the water, and a boat came by and he said, oh no, I'm waiting on the Lord. Airplane came by. Oh no, I'm waiting on the Lord. Everything came by, helicopter, everything. Oh no, I'm waiting on the Lord. He gets the time, he said, Lord, why didn't you save me? He said, I sent somebody. I sent these people. That was me sending these people. But we want him to come in these miraculous signs and wonders just to come fix it. So why are we waiting until we actually need the house to get our credit fixed? Until we actually need the car? The best time, I can give you the first tip of tonight. The best time to get your credit is when you don't need it. Best time. Can't say that enough.
Best time. That's good.
Not when you're desperate for credit, because they can tell. But, and they're going to tell you no. It's when you don't need the credit, that is the best time to get the credit and be prepared.
To be prepared. That doesn't mean you get it and be having fun with it though, huh?
No. No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
don't do that. Credit is not for fun.
Mm.
Credit is there to build, to help you invest, to take you to another level. You
Mm.
cannot go and like, I have clients, because I do all financial services. Credit is just
Mm-hmm.
one thing that a lot of people come to me for. And they start out with me with that, but I need to know what the underlying issue is. So I kind of do a consultative type of approach, maybe so quote unquote therapy session to figure out
Okay.
what the
Okay.
underlying issue is when it
Uh-huh.
comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find is that so many people think that they can either do what their parents did, right? Not have to really get credit, stay away from credit cards, they're from the devil, or
Yeah.
not to deal with it at all. Like, don't deal with it or stay away from credit cards. In all actuality, I have clients who make well over 6 figures and can't get into a home. They have the cash, they're able to retire at a young age, but can't really get into the home that they desire. Why? Because they never established a line of credit. They never
Ooh.
built their credit up. So
Wow.
credit is not bad. It's how you use it. You can use credit cards to decrease your score, which is what most people do because,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the knowledge, or you can use it to absolutely build your credit score and build it up quickly.
Mm. So our friend here has already jumped in, but as always, I prepared some question chosen friends. But if you have any questions, be sure to type them below. Because we already in it. It's not let's get into it. We in it. So before
Yes.
we go a little further though, tell me about your background. What is it? How long have you been in this business of helping people build credit, fix credit, eliminate credit? I don't know.
Yeah, so I help people do it all. We eliminate debt. We do everything. We don't do temporary band-aids. Big thing I just want to clear up. I'm not a credit repair agent or anything like that.
Okay.
I do credit restoration. It's the
Okay.
big difference. And if you
Okay.
allow me, Jen, I just want to explain it really quickly and I'll get
Yes.
into my background so you know
Mhm.
who you're talking with. So credit
Got it.
repair. You ever heard of repair tire? Do you want a
Mhm.
repair tire or do you want a new tire? Which one would you
Mm.
go with? I don't
I
want a
wanted
repair
to be
tire because
right.
you can only
It's
go
gonna
so
happen
far on a
again.
repair tire, and then you gotta still spend the money and get the actual work done and get a new
Mhm.
tire. Credit restoration, you restore it back to new where it was at before
Mm.
it went down and tanked.
Okay.
So we want to restore people's credit and not just repair it, which is a big difference. I work for a nonprofit organization, and it allows for me and attorneys that I partner with to remove all the negative items, every single one of them. I don't care if you got 40 on each, credit bureau,
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
the negative items with all three credit bureaus all at the same time. And it's
Okay.
only a credit restoration company can do that and not a credit repair. So if you're out there, guys, make sure you're looking for credit restoration and not credit repair. It looks similar to the eye, but it's
Mhm.
not. You get a lot more when you get to deal with a credit restoration specialist there. But my background, I'm excited
Mhm.
about. So I sold
Mhm.
cars, I sold everything but houses. I
All right.
did vehicles, door to door, everything. I dealt with people's security, social security numbers, and different things in financing. I even worked in higher education, student loans, right? Everybody probably
Okay.
like, oh, I got mad questions about student loans. I've even worked with the student loan doctor, Sonia Lewis, as well, just to get trained under her because I really wanted to know this information. I think that
Mhm.
the person who you choose needs to be educated in
Absolutely.
this, so that way somebody's not playing with you or playing with you or your money. You don't want to
Mhm.
waste it. So I
Mhm.
decided I wanted to be the expert, and I wanted to get on the other side of people pouring out so much money in interest, because I was, especially with cars, I'm like, they're paying twice as much for this car just on
Mm.
interest alone, just by
Mm.
having a bad credit. Now, don't get me wrong, people can get in houses with bad credit, people can get in cars with bad credit. How much are you paying for your house? How much are you paying for your car for
Mhm.
something that you can do so much more with and so much better with? Speaking with a person personally, where when I walked in buying my home during COVID-19, I wanted to buy a new home, $700 down. That's what they asked me for because my credit score was good. Not, hey,
Mm.
so what's the job situation like? Everything. You would think they're worried about all these things, but no, your credit score, your name
Mm.
speaks volumes for yourself, and you're able to make investments, do different things. I'm buying a brick and mortar. I'm in the process of that. Me and one of my business partners. That's all. Funding is the hardest thing to find for business right now. But that's
Mm.
why I was getting into business credit and different things like that because it's so important. You want to leave a legacy. How do you leave a legacy, but you're leaving debt behind instead?
Mm.
Because the interest rates are too much. So
Right.
I'm a PK kid. That's a part of my background as well. My dad's a bishop. My mom's
All
a
right.
pastor over at Jesus Christ Empower Ministries in
Mhm.
1980 Church Lane. So to me, the Lord just told me that's my ministry.
Okay.
Between counseling married couples with finances. Me and my husband, we counsel married couples, and we partnered up with a few other counselors. We're actually on a board coming to start soon, and we want to make sure that people aren't separating because of finances. It's not really about finances. I'm gonna be honest. It's how we communicate about finances. So that's part of what I do, keeping those marriages together, keeping them happy, keeping these families 2-parent households, that's important, for our children and our generations to come. But so that whole background of me, this just being my ministry work, sometimes I'm so involved with my clients. I'm holding the hand. I'm making sure that I'm not leaving you hanging. You tell me you coming here to buy a home, we're reaching that goal. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We're going to do everything we need to do as much as you'll allow me to do. We're going to work at those goals together. And on top of that, we're going to help you maintain that credit score, because I don't want repeat clients, Jen. That means I didn't do my job right the first time.
Right.
How can you do better? And if you don't know what you did wrong or right. So I'm all about financial literacy, financial education. So that's my background. That's where my passion comes from. You can't tell. I want to kind of jump up.
I love it.
But
I also love that piece of the counseling the married couples with finances, or married couples about finances, because that's a biggie. And if you're not doing premarital counseling, or you didn't talk about that before you got married, or you thought that everything was really good because it looked like they was keeping up with the Joneses and they was really robbing Peter to pay Paul, and y'all came together, that's a whole nother conversation.
Absolutely. And then it's coming to the meeting of minds on things. So
hey, Mama Wanda. She said, wow, $700. Yes, that was a nice price.
With credit. You keep your credit score above the 700s, you can do it too.
Wow.
You can do it too.
So there's
investment properties. One of my business partners, we were talking, we're like, we got to do a little bit more investing. And investment properties, buying it at 70 and 90,000. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You're renting it out enough that somebody livable conditions, and you can rent it out for double the price. So now the mortgage she was talking about is $400 on one and $600 on the other. So that's paying for her mortgage and paying for the mortgages there.
Right.
In the house that she lives in. And that's leaving a legacy. That's the investment. But that all deals with good credit, because the better the credit, the lower the down payment, the lower the monthly payment. And that's what people don't understand. People will tell you all the time, I can get you in a house, I can get you in a car. But wait, what price does that come to?
Right.
It comes at a cost. If you're just patient enough to wait 30, 60, 90 days out to just fix up, like you said, do today, not do it tomorrow, right? The Abraham Lincoln quote. Then you'll be prepared when the car goes down and something happens. You need a car. Oh, well, my lease is running up. I have so many people like, oh, my lease is up in 2 months. What can you do? Well, we can do a lot. How aggressive do you want to be? That's the question. But we can't work miracles. It's a process. I'm not here. I'll tell people all the time, I will turn in a client when we just want quick fixes. I don't do Band-Aids. That's what I don't do. I wasn't raised to do Band-Aids. I don't do Band-Aids. We do the actual operation and surgery, make it look good, and you're going to be able to be healthy, longevity, health-wise, when it comes to your wealth.
Very good. So why did you get into this field?
So, like I said, I was on the other end of finances, so I've seen people spending so much money in interest, and I'm a numbers girl. So I'm looking like, you know what you could be doing with this? You know how much rent you pay and how many times you could have bought this house? And I'm thinking in my head, and so I have a passion for people anyway. And I was like, so do you mind if I talk to you? Like, I treat everybody like family. Do you mind? They'll let me. I'm like, do you mind? I'm very professional, but I'm like, do you mind if I just talk to you for something? Can we have a heart-to-heart moment? And I cared that much. And the Lord just gave me those visions of just sharing all this information with people. So when I say, if I can give you all the free tips, all my credit consultations are free, because I feel like if I can fix something for you and we don't have to go through the whole process, I'm going to tell you. It does not cost me anything. This is my gift, and I'm going to freely give it. And whatever happens. I have people all the time fighting me, trying to pay me for my consultation, because a lot of people do a charge for consultation. Right. I refuse, because I want people to understand that sometimes it's just some information to help, to get you to the next step. And if we can do that, now if there's some work involved, absolutely, a man or woman is worthy of a hire. However, I want to make sure that you're receiving the best possible at the quickest rate possible. So I don't even do contracts. Everybody who deals with me wants to deal with me, wants to go on with this process. I don't feel like anybody should be bogged down saying, this is your goal. I'm here to help you with it.
Got it. So So we said credit allow people to, get a home, to get house, get a car, whatever it is that they're trying to do. But what is credit and why? What is credit?
Okay. So, credit comes with is a form of giving you a number,
Mm-hmm.
basically that allows for people to lenders. When I say people, lenders, companies, whether it's auto financing or it's mortgage lenders, anything, to say, hey, do we lend you money? That's the first question, yes or
Mm-hmm.
no. And if we're going to lend you money, do we think that we need to get our return on our investment faster, which means the interest rate is higher? Because if I'm charging you, what most people don't know, when you look at your mortgage, most times you're paying more on your interest than the actual principal. And the
Right.
principal is actually the money you use to buy the house. The
Mm-hmm.
interest is the extra money that goes to them for lending you the money. So for
Mm-hmm.
instance, let's make it plain, right? So Jen, I'm loaning you $20, you're my friend. Right? I'm the
Mm-hmm.
lender, I'm loaning you $20, you're my friend. And I'm like, hey girl, give me these $20 and you get back. Well, that's the
Mm-hmm.
principal, the $20. However, I say, hey, it's some interest on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything above that $20 is the interest. And most times, if you have bad credit, they're trying to recoup their money back that they loaned out at least first, and then get the extra money because they took a bigger chance and risk on you because your credit score shows them, I shouldn't even just say your score, your history shows them
Mm-hmm.
that you either did pay some money back or you didn't. Now, if I lent you this $20, you ain't pay me back. I'm like, now listen, Jen,
Mm-hmm.
I lent you this $20. You
Mm-hmm.
did pay me back, but it was super late. You
Mm-hmm.
missed a few payments in between, everything. I'm having a
Mm-hmm.
hard time lending to you again.
You're
And that's what
right.
people don't understand. So now
Mm-hmm.
you're going to somebody else. You may go to my sister or something and say, hey, listen, your sister loaned me money. Can you loan me money too? Absolutely not. I'm not willing to
Mm-hmm.
take that risk. That's what some people are
Mm-hmm.
saying. You go back to lender, they might say, okay, I'm taking this risk, but it's going to cost you at a higher interest rate again. And now instead of $20, you're going to pay me $100. You're like, wait, that's way more. But people don't
Mm-hmm.
see it that way. But I'm saying it's
Right.
only $5 a week. Oh, I can afford $5 a week. Yeah, you can, but do you know how much you just spent in interest for $20 when you could have saved that $20 and just bought
Right.
it?
Right.
So that's what credit does for you. Credit actually affects everything. I had someone who just one of my clients who just started with me. She's with the army, and she's like, they got me on a waiver. They signed me a waiver for my job. Like, listen, get your credit fixed, get these collections off because you're temporarily hired until you get your
Mm-hmm.
credit. Who
Wow.
wants to be risk at getting their credit is affected? And another gentleman, he was out for, I think the salary the job paid for was over $200,000 a year. Good
Mm-hmm.
job. He's like, yeah, I'm getting it. They told me my credit. They told me I had 30 days to get it together, and then I can start working for them. So now he wants me to do miracles, but that was at risk.
Mm. So the 200,000 that was for a job that was going to be their salary,
Yes, for a
and
job.
they had to have a credit together.
Absolutely. More jobs. If it's $30,000 or above, many more companies are looking at that for the job and for promotions. Even if you have the
Wow.
job, you might not be getting a promotion because your credit score is not where it's supposed to be. You pay a higher premium each month on your car insurance because your credit score is not supposed to be. You can't get and do what you want to do because your credit score is not supposed to be. And if we would just address it and fix it, doors are flying open for you.
Mhm.
And that's what people don't understand. A small investment opens up the world.
Wow.
A small investment. I have clients even come to me and they say, I don't want any parts of it, just delete it all. I'm like, well, I don't do repair. I do financial literacy as well with this. It's important for you to understand because I don't want you to come back. I don't want the client that's going to mess up your credit. So say you had late payments. You didn't know late payments affected your credit score, which affects 35% of your credit score. That affects the biggest late payments.
Wow.
So, and one late payment can take you down 100 points, by the way. So say
Mm.
I'm deleting late payments off for you. Awesome. I have my credit attorneys working on your behalf. They get it removed. Your credit score shoots up. Wow, I'm gonna get a house. You don't find the right house right away. It takes you 2 months. But by then, you made two other additional late payments because I never told you late payments can hurt you. I didn't
Oh.
educate you. So now your credit score goes back down 100 points. Within that
Mm.
time, you were just at a 750. Now you're at a 650, and you just missed
Mm.
the cutoff for the lender to lend you out mortgage because I did
Wow.
not educate you. And I tell people education is important because if I remove it, you don't know what you did wrong or right. You're going to more likely repeat a habit. And then you're going
Mm.
to come back and say, hey, I need this removed as well. And my desire is to see people do better than what they were doing when they came to me, not just for me to remove those things off. So,
Mm. So we got a question for you.
Absolutely.
Tamika said, how long is the credit repair program and the cost?
I love that question. Really, really good question. So, first part, how long is the credit repair program? Everybody differs, right? So, credit repair program, there is no contract with me. So, it's as long as you want it to be. I have some people, I think I held their hand a little too long. I'm like, hey, you're good to go. And they're like, well, wait, let me get in my house, get this in order, make sure I'm doing, which is totally fine. I want to make sure the person is comfortable. So, there are no
Mm-hmm.
contracts. I do have, most of my clients have a quick turnaround of 30 to 90 days. They see a significant credit score increase. Some people, if they're in the 400s, they get in the 600s. That's really great, but they might want to see themselves in the 700s. So most of my clients are with me 3 to 6 months on average. I have some that are few longer, I have some that are shorter. It all depends on the person. Our credit scores are like our weight. We can go to the same gym, work out, do the same workout, we ain't losing weight the same. Our credit report is the same way. It doesn't look the same. Different things are affected by it. So, your credit score might not jump as fast as someone else. So that's where the difference of people's time, but usually on average 3 to 6 months, most of my clients. Now the cost is very affordable. It depends. I have different programs depending on what you need. So I would do a free credit consultation. I will look to see what needs to be done. You may just get your free information that you need and can go along with your way. I do have programs that are $89 a month, usually $188 to start. However, many of my clients actually can get their services for free, which is, I love that program. It's a referral program. So once people refer people, I have people that post for me, people that do different things that they prefer. I work with their families and everything like that. They refer
Mm-hmm.
a few clients to me, they absolutely get their next month services for free and thereafter. So I'm all about helping as much. If free can't fit in your budget, we definitely need to talk. I need to figure that why free's not fitting in your budget. You know,
And free is nice. We like free. So okay.
I
So
like free too. I do. I like free too. So it all really depends on what you need, the program, what you're willing to do in the program, what I need to do. But literally, the highest program that I have is less than $3 a day. I mean, that's a cup of coffee a day. We all go to Dunkin' Donuts, and if you go to Starbucks, that's a little bit more pricey. So you might be able to be like, hey, let me get a tall instead of a venti and
mm-hmm.
still be on a credit repair program. So my highest level is still affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And my program is all inclusive. So if I find out that you need budgeting, like you have late payments, that's a sign that you need budgeting. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, like you said. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, hey, we might want to look into budgeting. If I know that you tell me the story is like, hey, I ran into a hard time, I was doing fine, making all my payments, but this happened, that means that you probably didn't have a savings plan. You didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
emergency savings. So you're saying one thing, I'm thinking something else in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
that allows for me, but it's all inclusive. So I can absolutely give that to you and show you those tools, easy to use. You get an online portal. You know exactly what I'm working on, because I don't like when companies are hiding with their work. Oh, you got to call in. You'll know exactly what you're working on. You'll be able to see everything, see your credit score, see what's going on with your accounts throughout the whole entire process, as well as still getting a chance to talk with me. You actually are going to be talking with me, and I'll be helping you one-on-one. I do Zoom calls, I do phone calls, I even do text message, because it's new millennial type thing. They're like, can we just do text? I do it all just to fit with the clientele that I have. But I tell even people about the taxes. Like, I'm like, hey, you have these businesses, you have these different things going on. I'm like, you do know that you can put this credit repair as a tax write-off, right? Like, if you're working
Mm-hmm.
towards your business credit, this becomes a tax write-off. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, save everything that's going on. So
Right.
I'm big on the whole matter of finance and making it better for you, like changing people. They're like, I didn't even know. Like, I show people literally how they can save an extra $200-300, a week. And they're like, how did you do that? Where did you find it? It's about finding those holes and
Mm-hmm.
making sure we prepare them the right way, as well as having a debt payoff system. So I love this debt payoff system. I know we were going to talk about that. Maybe I'm ahead of myself a little bit,
It's
but
all right.
this debt payoff system allows you. I show you in a really, really simple way of paying off debt without having extra income, without
Hmm.
having any extra income. You like, right? Scratch your head. You like, well, how am I supposed to?
Yeah, I was about to scratch my head myself.
Right, absolutely. But I show you exactly how to do that. And I literally cut, using this program, I literally cut my 29 years of debt that I was supposed to be in, because they tell you how long your debt's supposed to be based on your monthly payment, everything like that, to down to 7 years. So people
Mm.
want to be debt free. I can show you that way. Now, I'm not telling you want to be debt free by tomorrow. That's not,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm telling you. But what I'm
Mhm.
saying is with hard work and dedication and learning these habits that I'm teaching you and learning the financial literacy aspect of it and me teaching you through these programs, you'll be like, I'm debt free. Can you imagine yourself being debt free in less than 10 years with everything?
Mm.
I'm talking about student loans, your house, for
Mm.
everything instead of paying a 30-year mortgage. You can have a 30-year mortgage. Don't get me wrong. I always tell people to extend because if you run on hard times, your monthly payment is lower. Don't try to make it faster. But you can always pay and make sure you check your contracts and talk to the people who are lending you the money. You can
Mm.
probably pay ahead of time without penalty. And I show people exactly how to
To do
pay
it.
that debt down and have a zero debt.
Mm. I'm gonna have to call and ask some questions myself. Tamika said, "Thank
I know
you."
that's Jen, you know I will take care of you. Our family now, Jen.
I just want to know. So you talked about the credit reports and having items removed. Can you talk about that a little bit more? Because sometimes things get on our credit. How long does it stay on our credit if we don't get it removed? And how do we know what needs to be removed?
I guess I should talk about some myths here because people
Okay.
have their own myths that they heard, and people swear they know. Listen, I'm just gonna say it to the audience. If the person is not a credit expert, okay, don't listen to cousin Bolo,
Mm-hmm.
Sister Cheyenne, and all of them. Go see
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Because I
Okay.
had people tell you, run up your credit card, girl, your credit score gonna go up. Oh, I got mine's removed and everything. I'm not saying you can't repair your own credit. I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm not saying that you can't. We
Mm-hmm.
can deliver our own babies. We can do a lot of things, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
choose not to. You go to the doctor and get it done. So consider me a doctor. Get it done right the first time so you don't run into any long issues. But
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to understand this. So here's some myths that people don't know. Number one, the three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they're actually privately owned companies. They're
Hmm.
not government agencies
Okay.
or anything like that. That's one I want to be clear with. So most people are like, oh, has nothing to do with the government.
Okay.
You know, FICO score is Fair Isaac. You know, that's what that stands for. So it's a person that came up with this way, a method. Then these companies aren't even in the United States.
Wow.
So they have their headquarters here, but they're not even in the United States. So most people don't know that. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing of letting you know about these credit agencies. However, people use them to loan you money. So we have to be respectful of that in a sense of, guess what? Things are going to get reported. So why do you have three different credit scores? I'll tell you that. The reason you have three different credit scores is because legally, no one has to report to all three credit bureaus. If they want to report to one, they did their part. They don't even
Mm-hmm.
have to report to all. So take an instance, you are paying your light bills on time, you're paying, all this stuff on time, right? Your rent. Do you ever see it on there saying you paid your bill on your credit report? No. You only see it when you don't pay. If you get an
Mm-hmm.
eviction or you got late payments for that. That's when all of a sudden it's like, oh, now you want to report to the credit bureau.
Ah.
You know. So they don't legally have to report at all, but they do in the negative sense. So,
Okay.
speaking of rent, I actually have a program where you can report your 24 months of on-time rental history reported to your credit report. All three bureaus will accept it, and now that's going to boost up your score. It actually boosted up one client score about 250 points in 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's something. If you are paying your rent, you're a renter. I use it personally for myself before I
Mm-hmm.
bought a home, and so many other people as well. And it really, really works. So I can talk to people more about that. If they're interested in it, just mention credit my rent, and I will help you guys and walk you through it and talk to you more about
Okay.
it. But other things with myths that's with your credit. You talked about how long do things stay on your credit report.
Mm-hmm.
You think that things come off after 7 to 10 years. Most people think that's the rule of thumb. After 7 to 10 years, it's going to fall off. Well, who told you that? Did you ever review your credit report after 7 to 10 years? No, most times you have to dispute it the right way
Oh.
for them to remove it. It doesn't just fall off in 7 to 10 years. Ask somebody who's had long credit from when they're 18 and now they're like 40. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't even check it, but that was from when I was like 21. And I hear all the time. And because it doesn't just fall off.
Okay.
Another huge, huge myth is that
Wait a
bankruptcy
minute.
is cure
She
all.
said, yes, please add that credit my rent. She said, credit my house.
Yeah, you better be getting that mortgage reported on that credit.
Oh goodness, I
Yes,
love it.
absolutely. But one of the big myths is bankruptcies is a cure all. Bankruptcy is actually
Mm,
a scarlet letter, and you don't have to choose bankruptcy as a route. I would absolutely take advantage of the free consultation to see if bankruptcy is the route for you, because bankruptcy doesn't remove all your debt.
mm,
There is still some form of payment that you have to pay with it. I have people that have to pay a $20,000 debt. You're still paying and
mm,
then they have collections accounts of different things. When in all actuality, I can probably remove it for you and keep the money in your pocket. Keep
mm.
that in your pocket. So you don't want to, and then that stays on for at least 10 years as well, has to then be removed, and it keeps you from getting to your next destination a lot longer. Because if you're in
Okay.
the middle of a lawsuit, so to speak, because that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
not civil in that sense like that, but um I can't, most people can't repair the credit during that year until they release it or until you sign off and release and say, hey, I'm relinquishing my rights with this. And then we can remove it. But we absolutely do remove bankruptcies. There's nothing we don't remove: child support, judgments, tax liens, collections, medical bills. There's nothing that we do not remove. Student
Mm-hmm.
loans, we even work with and gotten some of those removed. Now, we're not removing them for everybody. Let me be clear, because I have people, oh, you can
Okay.
remove them, get mine off. No, what we will do is work with the late and derogatory, and if any errors are there, we will remove those items. So we work off of the Fair Credit Reporting Act that was enacted years ago, and now we are taking advantage of it, which means that
Mm-hmm.
you can legally try to make sure there's no errors on your report, no obsolete information, nothing erroneous at all on your
Mm-hmm.
credit report, because if it is, then legally they have to remove it. So I see people
Okay.
all the time, trying to pay off collections, and then they're crying because they spent thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to get their credit score up. And I'm like, it would have cost you a percentage, a small, probably 1% of what you paid out to them. You could have paid out and sat with me, and we would have went over everything, removed it, and you could have kept all that money in your pocket for the down payment for your home. So I urge
Wow.
people, take advantage. I can't say enough of a free credit consultation, because it's free information. You can
Mm-hmm.
find out before you make the mistake. I have people that come back to me and like, I didn't have to pay this. They see how fast it comes off, and they're like, I
Mm-hmm.
could have saved that money.
Mm-hmm.
I just spent this thousands of dollars. A medical bill could be $2,000 or more. This amount of money, or even getting student loans removed, anything, all that can stay in your pocket. You can increase your credit score. You can grow it. I even have things like, most people don't know about credit cards. They stay away from secure credit cards. Are usually where you start if you're not at a good credit score. You want to
Mm-hmm.
get a secure credit score, a credit card. And what that is just basically you usually have to apply for it, and you
Mm-hmm.
put your own money on a credit card. It's your own
Mm-hmm.
money. That's what a secure credit. It's secured for the bank. Like, hey, we're
Okay.
not lending you our money. You're going to lend us your money back to you. And then
Mm-hmm.
you can use this credit card to build your credit score. Now, what that does for you is, one, you can still be denied even though it's your own money.
Hmm.
That means they have to pull your credit report, and you're only allowed to get 2 inquiries every 2 years. So if they pull your credit report, then your credit can go down and lose points just by them pulling. My
Mm-hmm.
program, I have enough clout and pull in my program to make sure that people can get approved for a secured credit card without pulling their credit.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere from $200 to $2,000. So the credit score is not going to go down, but we're going to be able to build it up. And now they have a credit card. If they need to rent a car, or have that emergency fund, or whatever they want to do, and start it off
Mm-hmm.
with that way, because they haven't started their emergency fund. And they have a credit card, and I'm going to teach them exactly how to use it to build it up in the next few months. So don't be afraid of credit cards. You can very well use them. That's one of the myths as well. And that's quite a few in a nutshell of just saying, like, don't believe what's been
Got it.
passed down from generation to generation, because it's
So
not the truth when it comes to credit.
with the secured credit card, is there an APR that you have to pay with that, or you just if I
It
spent?
is. I'm so
Oh.
glad you said that. You know why? Because we had one of the lowest interest rate nationwide. Now, people with good credit know that most of the credit interest rates are like a 12.9, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
15 or so. You never get we are 9.99%.
Okay.
9.99% interest rate. And there's no interest on it if you pay it off the next month, which is what I show my people to do. So you don't have to pay
Mm-hmm.
interest on
Okay.
it. But yes, so annual fee, it is an annual fee for that. It's $49 for the year. But
Mm-hmm.
most credit cards give an annual fee. If they don't, the interest rates are usually higher because they don't have
Right.
an annual fee. They find a way to get their money, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
tell people, usually if you calculate what the interest rates are on most of your purchase and versus the annual fee is usually cheaper. $49, you divide that by 12, you see what you're paying out each month.
Oh.
But That's in a nutshell. So I'm glad you asked that question. I thought you would know. You asking all the right questions, Jen.
I'm trying. We have another question for you. Melissa said, what is the amount of a good credit score and how can I get there?
What is the amount of a good credit score? So I'm gonna assume this question is, when does good credit start? Like, what's the credit score number? I'm assuming, and
Oh
correct
yeah,
me if
what's a
I'm
good
wrong.
number to have? What's a good number to have?
So good credit really doesn't start until a 720.
Okay.
720 credit score. Now I don't want you to get to 720 and celebrate. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
You want to be a 750 or above preferred. Why? Because what happens when you buy a home or you use your credit or anything like that, it goes down temporarily a few points.
Okay.
And so if you're a 720, now you're just missed the cups of good credit. Now you're back at fair credit. You're like, oh my God. So if you're above the 720 mark or 750, that gives you some wiggle room. You're 5, 10, 15, 20 points even. You still, hit to the good credit score point. So you want to be between, that around that 720, 750 mark to be like, all right, let's celebrate.
Okay. Okay. And Miss Shakila has entered the room. She's going to be our guest next week talking about securing a home. She said,
Yes.
is it best to pay all of your credit cards off to zero?
That's a good question. So if you're not buying a home, let's just say that. If you're not buying a home, you can use it. You want to use it. You want to use credit cards. Let's just say that. Any credit that you have open, do not close it. If you close it, that messes up your credit history and brings your credit score down. Most people are like, I'm going to pay it off and I'm going to close it. Please don't. I'm waving the white flag. Don't close your credit cards. It changes your credit age. So what you want to do is use it every 6 to 9 months. Maybe buy a pair of socks. I don't know if you have like a department store credit card, which I'm not a fan of because you can only use it in a department store. You can't use it for emergency. What emergency do you have at, Macy's?
Macy's.
Really
Any more socks?
Yeah.
I need a gown.
You don't need a gown. We want a gown. We probably got gowns in the closet. I'm pretty sure, Jen, you fabulous. We got gowns in the closet. We got to get the goals, right?
You're right.
So we got to know them between our needs and our wants, right?
Yes.
So trust me, I want a whole lot of things, but I want the jet, but we're not getting there yet because I got to pay for the fuel and the insurance. It starts getting expensive, right?
It's expensive.
Listen, but paying off your credit cards to zero is a good idea before you're purchasing your home. Most experience with the realtors that I work with, they want to see that, and the lenders, they want to see it down to a zero payment. You've used it, which is great. You built upon it, but now it's at a zero payment, zero balance, I should say. So that way now the debt to income ratio is lower. That's a very big factor when it comes to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Shakila, but it's a very big issue when your debt is too much. And so I've had people with good credit scores, but too much student loans and they haven't done anything with their student loans. But we have to address the issue so the debt to income ratio is so much better and put you in a position to get a home. You don't need a co-signer. You don't need as high of a down payment, because what credit scores does, even if you're looking for a rental property, you actually do know that most people habitually think that you need to have a security deposit. You don't. That's for people with bad credit. Your name could be your security deposit. Oh, just move in. Here's your first month. Thank you. That is it. But because we're so used to having the bad credit, we end up having to pay security deposit first, last, all the extras, and then needing a security deposit for our gas, our electric, and it's like, well, wait, why are we doing, for your cell phone? That's because of our credit score.
So I just want to clarify. So if I pay my credit cards down to zero, it's not a bad thing, but I should still use it every so often to keep
it open. Yes, because they will close your card on their own. If you don't ever use it, they're closing your card. So you don't want them to close your card, because you'll be crying in tears when you see your credit score go down for something that you didn't even do. You thought you were doing the right thing. So absolutely, you want to pay it down, especially if like I tell people, hey, pay those minimum payments, and then right before it's time to purchase those homes, if you got like a $25 payment is the last payment, pay it all down to zero, less debt to income ratio. And do not, and I'm saying this for the sake of Shaquille, do not buy a car first before buying your home if you fix your credit. Do not, because that messes up the debt to income ratio. Buy the car after. So home first, then the car. If you want to know what order.
Yeah, she's going to drop some nuggets next week. She also told me that I can use my Visa to get a gown. Thank you. Sometimes you want another one. I'm teasing. I'm gonna use wisdom. Okay.
Yes.
This why I'm gonna need a consultation. Okay. So Juan said that's exactly what I do. Buy small things with my credit card and pay it right off. Yes.
Can I share a trick with you, Quan? I'm gonna share a trick with you. So say you buy something for $10, right? You bought something small, you're gonna pay it off next month. Make 2 payments, 5 and 5. The first payment is going to be 15 days before your due date. And then the next $5 payment will be 3 days before your due date. So you can schedule them, do your online bill pay, set a reminder on your phone, whatever you want. But that's going to show us if you're making 2 payments or actually the 1 payment you were going to already make anyway, your minimum payment. Even if it's your minimum payment, split it in 2. You know, whether it's $22.50 and some like whatever it is, split it in 2, make those 2 payments 15 days before, 3 days before, and it's going to help you boost up your credit score as well. So I just wanted to share that.
Wait a minute. So, because I was going to ask a question off of that too, because the due date of your credit, the payment.
Yes, so you're saying different from the settlement date.
Huh? Don't do
so
it.
So your due date is different from the settlement date. I want to be clear. Your settlement date is all the money you're going to use until the settlement date, which means that, hey, I can spend money up until this date and it's going to reflect on my next bill. That's the settlement date. The due date is when the actual bill is due, whether it's the minimum balance or you're going to pay it all. That's when the due date is here. So you want to choose the due date. Make sure when you read your bill, it's due date. And it's 3 days before and 15 days before.
Got it. Never on the due date.
Not on the due date. You want to try to make it before so it can reflect and show those payments. So you can do it on the due date. But if you want to really build up your score, you're going to make the payment anyway. What most people don't do, they don't even know they're building up their credit score because they pay their bills and split their bills anyway bi-weekly. So it's 2 payments anyway. So they're like, oh, I had one person, she's like, my credit score is already 830. And I'm like, she's with me because she wants to protect her credit score, you know, because identity theft is the second highest crime in America. And people have your information. Experian had a data breach. They have it. They're waiting for your credit score to be used. They know that it fluctuates. So you want to protect it, because if you don't, I have had so many clients that say that people are in a house in my name, I can't even get a house, and then they have to go through and prove it. We actually deal with pre-existing conditions as well as anything that happens with us, and we give $1 million of protection for identity fraud insurance when we work with our attorneys. So our attorneys have actually went so far as to taking companies to court to get things removed, and if they receive compensation, they give the money to you as a client. So, and we don't charge you any extra to deal with my attorneys. That's all a part of it. I told you, all inclusive. It's kind of like an all inclusive vacation. You don't have to worry about anything. This is what my program is, all inclusive.
All right. So Gabrielle said, is it a myth that you have to pay off student loans a certain percent in order to get offered for a decent low down payment for a first-time home buyer?
I'm going to say yes and no. It depends on how we're looking at this question. So you have to pay off your student loans to get a home, period. Like you have to pay off a certain percentage, or it depends on your debt to income ratio. That's what that depends on when I say that. So if your debt to income ratio, you may have some smaller amount of student loans, but your income is well where it needs to be, you might not have to put anything towards your student loans. You can keep going on with life and the student loans aren't affecting you. However, depending on where your income is, and how much debt you have, including your student loans, whether you have a car, another house, whatever it may be. And then the first time home buyers program, it depends on which program. So I work with clients nationwide. It depends on what state, what area you're in, what their first time home buyer rules and regulations are, if that's going to affect you. So I don't want to say yes or no, because in some areas, this very well could be an issue. In other areas, not so much.
Okay. I'll make sure I'm getting all the questions. This is true. Please. She said, and don't sign for anyone either.
Oh, please. Thank you. She gonna thank you. Please don't co-sign. Don't do Parent Plus loans and no kinds of co-sign. Do scholarships. My company's actually open up scholarships. We're giving over $1 million this year alone. We're going to be giving over $600,000 in scholarships. So I'll be putting the information out. So follow me on all social media. You can find me under my name, Enasha Bradshaw. You'll see my face on my personal page. If you run into me, you'll see me and my husband. But you want to follow that page, I'll be releasing that, because scholarship is where it's at. Don't do student Parent Plus loans, because that's you starting all over with student loans. You just got yourself out of it, and then you're putting yourself back in it. And that's their career, that's their stuff. I know you want to help and you want to send them, but there's scholarships. I used to work in higher education. We sent money back for scholarships because people weren't applying for it. And unfortunately, the bad part about it is you could have wrote about spaghetti and meatballs, and that wasn't even a question. You probably would have got the scholarship because no one else applied. So
Spaghetti
please
and
apply for.
meatballs.
I'm just saying. But listen, it's so many different scholarships out there. Use it. I'm a scholarship baby. The best thing since sliced bread. Use them. Apply for them. You never know. As well, and look at all the different companies they do scholarships. All different companies: Johnson and Johnson, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Like look around. There's scholarship galore, and you usually can just copy and paste and change your essay up and send that same essay 30
I
times.
didn't hear that. Y'all didn't hear that. We just talked about that when I back to school, talking about people doing them things. You know, I want y'all
No,
doing
but
legit.
I'm talking about the essay for the thing. It's not cheating. They ask the same questions.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
most of them ask the same question.
Okay,
So
okay.
change it up. Change your own. Not
Okay.
not somebody else's. You don't steal somebody else's. Change your own and
Okay,
do
okay.
it. I'm telling you. Save yourself some time and headache, especially if your parents helping your children. Save some headache time there. They don't know. They're not asking Coca-Cola what you sent them at Johnson and Johnson. They're they asking the same questions. What do you aspire to be in life? Well, what you supposed to say? How you supposed to change it up? You gonna be different people, multiple personalities.
Got it.
But
So
yeah.
Gabrielle said scholarships. Please elaborate. Are these scholarships for students going to school or?
Yes, so these are for the ones that we give out for our company in particular are for high school seniors going off to college.
Okay.
So yes, not for just in general, but please, the other scholarships I'm just talking about in general, they have scholarships for people who are going to school at 40, who are first generation. There's so many who have light eyes. I'm dead serious. Like I might exaggerate with that one. Like,
No. But yeah, they got them for anything you can think of. And
moms.
the hard part is always really doing that essay part, and sometimes that may discourage somebody. But from a sister that's doing them school loans, if I could help somebody, fill out just write that essay. Write that essay.
It will help. It's somebody you gotta know somebody. There's so many different community things you can just type up and research. Ask me. Like I'll make sure I refer you somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah.
Like just ask around and get that help. And like she said, just going back to not signing for other people. Do not sign for them because that's going to hinder your credit. When you sign for somebody, and I know you love them. I know that man, we love them so much, or I'm doing this because we together and we going. If you ain't married, you ain't together. You still mark off single on here. Just saying. That's for somebody. But when you do that, what you're signing and saying is if this person does not pay, whether they mad at me, whether they die, whether whatever, you are going to pay. And when they don't and repo, now you have a repossession on your credit. Now I can get that removed, but we don't want to put it on it.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the issue. And from me selling cars, one other nugget. I don't know who's on here to say it. I'm gonna just move and tell you guys, please get gap insurance. Please get gap insurance. What gap insurance is when you buy a car, they ask you, do you want to pay an extra $400 over the life of your loan or whatever they may be, $400, $800 over the life of your loan to make sure that if your car is in an accident or can't move, can't do anything, and your insurance company is going to pay out for your car, that they'll pay the difference of what's owed, not just the value. Because your insurance company legally only if you have what's it what's the word I'm looking for? When you have collision. And they'll only legally able if you total your car, they only need to pay for the value of your car. The value of your car depreciates as soon as you drive off the lot. So you'll never get the full value of your car. But if you have gap insurance and you owe, because you have bad credit especially, you owe an extra $10,000, $5,000 on this car from the value of the car to what date you actually still owe on a loan. Well, guess what? They'll pay the difference, the gap in between. And now you don't have to pay for a car you can't even drive. Because that's what happens. We try to save that money here and there. And in the long run, I have people all the time, and that's why most people's repossessions are on. They either buy a car they can't afford, or they are because of the bad credit, because we can't really afford bad credit, or they didn't have the gap insurance. So I just want to give as much free information as possible.
We learned it. Mama Wanda said, do not sign for anybody and please get gap insurance. So the mother has spoken. We got to listen to Mama Wanda.
I think that's like a sermon topic. I don't know.
Yes.
I need to preach on it. Don't sign.
Mama Wanda got us. So another question was, does this work for mortgage as well? I don't remember.
Does what work for a mortgage? I just want to be clear. If she can
I don't remember. Yeah, so Tamika, if you could share, because we kind of went a couple of different places since that comment, I want to make sure we do answer that.
Yes, absolutely.
Latanya said, does store credit help raise your score? So like if you have a credit card at a Macy's or...
Yes. So this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't recommend getting a credit card at a department store. Credit
Okay.
cards are for emergency and investment.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency, investment. So when
Chosen
you
friends,
think
I
it's
don't think
for
you know
credit,
what our emergencies are sometimes. I'm teasing.
that's why I said it's kind of like a therapy session for my consultation. Because people think I gotta get this outfit is emergency, I gotta get this bag is emergency. It's
This shoe,
not.
you don't see that shoe though. I'm
It's
teasing.
not. It's not. You need to have the money for it. But the good news is if you get a regular credit card, you can use it there at Macy's
Right.
or you can use it for the tire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my advice is to get a real credit card that's not a not saying real, but not a department store credit card. A credit
Okay.
store card that can be used anywhere. You might have to buy groceries. When you get a home, because most people want to get a home, you might need to fix up a roof or do something else in your home.
Yeah,
That Macy's credit card ain't gonna get it.
it's not.
They're gonna be like, oh no, we don't take Macy's credit card. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You know,
they don't.
you'll
They
be
don't.
like dressing nice with the hole in your roof. We don't want that. We don't want you niggas
No,
to get out and be
exactly,
like, oh.
exactly, exactly.
But right, absolutely. We don't want that. So it can build your credit score though. So yes to
Okay.
your question, if you use it properly. So you have to use it the same way. So
Okay.
rule of thumb with credit, real quick. You don't want to spend over 30% of your credit score. I know when I got
Okay.
my first credit card, no, I ain't know nothing about it. I went ham in the store, honey. I
I
spent every
understand.
dime, maybe a little over. Like they
You're not
let me
alone. Me
price
too.
it. So I was happy. I mean, I don't think I wore all the clothes. I'm gonna be honest. I was just like, I got a lot of clothes, yay. I
Yes.
had to pay for it, yay. Wrong thing to do. That won't help you build your credit score. Anything over 30% actually brings your credit score down significantly. So you want to make sure. So what that looks like, let's do a number. So you have $1,000 credit card, right? Easy man. $1,000 credit score card. How much do I spend? How much am I allowed to spend? What does that 30% look like? That means you should not spend anything over $300, or it starts bringing your credit score down. It starts reporting as a high balance, which is one of the reasons why people credit score goes down. So you can't spend $300. You're like, they gave me $1,000. Like, what is that? Like, can I spend 700? I'm not doing good. Like, no. 300 is the best. In your head, you need to say, I only have a $300 credit card. So don't spend 301, don't spend 350, none of that. 300. That's how you maintain your credit score. I'm going to tell you what you do to build your credit score.
Okay.
Spend under 10%, under that 30% of their credit. 10% is the best possible way to build it up quickly. So that's why I say make small purchases. So you had a $1,000 credit score, or don't spend over $100 if you want to build your credit and pay it off the next month. Do the 50 and 50 and pay that thing off. You know.
So that was the question. Shakila was saying she was thinking the question was with your mortgage. If you pay your mortgage in 2 payments, does that boost your credit, like for credit cards?
Great question. Great question. Not only will it boost your credit score, but what else it will do is help you to actually make more payments to your principal over the life of your loan. So you actually will start paying off your mortgage faster if you do bi-weekly payments. Most people don't know this. So I do like a little chart. And if I knew that was one of the questions, I probably would have had it prepared. But I do a little chart. Most people don't understand that when you make multiple payments, instead of you making 12 payments, if you split that up over the 12, it actually turns bi-weekly. Let's just say bi-weekly. There's 52. So you end up doing 25, 26 payments there, doubling up your payments. And sometimes you know that we get paid more, you know, those extra weeks and stuff. So if you're paying it every time and breaking it up in that manner, you're actually going to not only boost your credit score, but actually lessen the life of your loan as well. So that's two reasons.
I want to make sure we understand this. So say my mortgage is $1,000, but I get paid my first paycheck of the month, I pay $500. My second check of the month, I pay $500. That's helping me?
It is, as long as you're paying that previous two. So if your mortgage is due the first, I'm not telling you give them 500 on the first and then give them 500 on the 15th because you're late. But what I'm saying is the previous month, you want to set up your situation that the previous month you're paying for the next month. So say you make it on the 15th is your first 500, right? It's 15 days before it's due. And then the next one you're doing the 500 on the first. Let's just say the first just for the sake of remembering. Then guess what? That's your second payment and you're paying it by the due date if nothing else.
Okay.
So that's what you want to do. Make sure you pay it ahead of time. Don't break up the payments and pay them later.
Okay.
Pay ahead of time. Pay 2 weeks ahead and then go on time. So absolutely. I can't wait for her to be on the show. I can't wait for next week.
She gonna give it to us straight too, gonna help us out because you know Buying a house is no joke, but having your credit is so important. Before I purchased my home, I did go to like a credit program prior to. I'm in a county though, so it wasn't as many at that time because I did do my research that I was able to do. Maybe services and things to get like things knocked off, or you didn't meet the qualifications and things of that sort. But it was still just good information to know to prepare yourself because, like you said, the house is amazing and beautiful, but you don't also want to be in a hole. Can you really maintain it? So that's that thing with that credit too, because sometimes people get approved for $180,000 and they're buying this house and they can't afford it.
Thank you. And that's why I partner with realtors who are passionate about helping people, not just putting them into the biggest house that they can get and they got approved for, and understand it. And that's why I walk through and hold people's hands to understand and want educated buyers, because when you go there, you're going to be like, I don't want you in a foreclosure. I don't want to hear, like, my heart is going to break. Like, I want you to maintain that house. Make an investment house, maybe your first one. And, you're not going to, it doesn't have to be your dream house yet. So that way, when someone comes in, then you're able to have them pay that mortgage and your other mortgage, But yeah, I'm glad you said that. We definitely don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we can't afford it just because we're approved for it.
I'm going to say that story for next week because my realtor, my house hunting crew, I talk about them, but I appreciate them, but I didn't like it all the time. And I'll tell that story next week. So y'all make sure y'all come back because it's important. But that's also important, too, to have people that's going to support you. Those hard no's, even with your credit. Like, no, you can't buy that. You don't need that. And I'm really good. Like, I could go into a store and I could walk around and I'll see something and I could hold it in my hand. That doesn't mean that I'm buying it. And I have a conversation with myself as I walk around. Do you even really need this?
Absolutely.
You really need this? Because like these need clothes, but then I can't even put away the clothes that I do got because it's too much stuff already in there. So maybe I don't.
Let me get off again.
So I got to get my life together. I was looking at that the other day. I said, Jennifer, you really don't need nothing else. You're not even really going nowhere. But then you found out, I had this. I didn't even know I had this, because we've been home. Oh, goodness. So again, I definitely understand. But like, really making those hard decisions. We did a budgeting when we did our, what series was that? Finance series. We had a budgeter and talking about, like really saving money or budgeting things to be appropriate. Because if you're budgeting, maybe you don't need that credit card. Or maybe you do get the credit card because you're trying to improve your credit. But just being careful. And nobody's perfect. We've all had a time where we missed a bill. We've all had a time.
I had bad credit one show. I'm just being honest and transparent. Before I got into this and studied and did what I had to do to become an expert, I had bad credit too. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. What's the shame? When you don't want to fix it. You don't care. You walking around with this bad credit. That's what you should be ashamed of. But don't be ashamed, because it happens to good people. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you don't know your stuff. Most people don't know about credit. It's a very funny type of situation. Even when you have okay credit, it's hard to build up to having that perfect credit score in the 800. So I completely understand and get that there. But it's important to have those tough conversations with yourself of whether you want it, you need it. Budgeting is very key, because you won't rob Peter to pay Paul if you knew you need that peanut butter jelly sandwich instead of the shrimp and crab. I had so many people posting on social media like, I can't get the credit here right now or start that. I know I want my house by December, and then you see them just loading it up with, I did it. Okay. What's your priorities?
Priorities. Gonna leave it right there, because when you want to do something, when you want to get yourself out of that crab barrel, when you want to get yourself out of living paycheck to paycheck, when you really do it, you'll make that sacrifice.
You got to start today. That's the only difference between my clients and the people who may be listening right now, is that they chose to start and get started. That's our biggest hurdle for anything. We always say on Monday, next month, next year.
I'm going to start on Monday, the beginning of the week. We're going to start it fresh. It'll be like Sunday, not the beginning of the week. You know what?
I'm starting to think, when people tell me they want to start on Friday, I start thinking of the movies Friday after next, the Friday after, like, well, which Friday you talking
Friday
about?
after Christmas,
on the Friday, right? Is it Friday in 2020 or 2021? So yeah, don't be that person. Be the person that's going to start and take yourself serious.
Yes. So Gabrielle says, should I do bi-weekly payments for student loans as well?
I would get in the habit of doing that only because you want to make sure it's a habit for what you do. If you do something for one, you should do it for all. So that way, your brain is not running regular like, oh, did I do the payments for this one? I do my bill pay. I'll tell you what I do. I set up my bill pay. I have a calendar. I also have something on my computer, but I do my computer later. I do my calendar. I write down all my bills, and then I schedule
No.
when I should, how much, and I pay all my bills the first of the month, and
Mhm.
I do bill pay. So they may not come out. I have a bill pay account, but I leave the
Mhm.
money in there so it can never be overdrawn because I don't see the account. I put the money in there. That money
Mhm.
belongs to someone else right now. I pay my
Mhm.
tithes, of course, first. I pay
Mhm.
myself and my savings first, and then I pay my bills. That way it
Okay.
comes out. If it's supposed to come out on the 15th, I don't have to remember on the 15th. That is bi-weekly, but all my stuff is usually split up in two. Except for I think my car insurance because they take it automatically. But
Mhm.
that's how it's done.
Okay.
You want to get in the habit of doing that for all your bills if you can. Just making that two payments and reflecting on there because then it's going to show up as that and reflect on your credit report. And one big thing and one note, I know we're running out of time, but please, 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 everybody, check your credit report for errors.
Mhm.
Check your credit report on, consistent at least every 6 months or something. Even if you have
Mhm.
Credit Karma scores are not wrong. They're just
Mhm.
calculated differently. I will say
Okay.
that. But have some form of credit monitoring and see what's going on with your credit. See if it's somebody got a new, because most people won't get into a home if you've seen it, they got your credit pool. That's the first
Okay.
alert. Like, well, why is somebody pulling my credit? Well, who was this?
Mhm.
You can stop it from the start when you
Okay.
first see that alert. So please check. I have people that haven't checked in years. Don't be afraid of
Mhm.
not knowing your credit score, checking it. I promise me, it's not like the boogeyman's going to jump out, the credit man, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Just check it because there's so many
Right.
errors on there and so many things that are surprising when we look at it for people who have not checked it. Check your credit
Mhm.
scores, know your credit scores, know where you stand, and what errors may be on your credit report. As
Mhm.
often as you can, more than once a year.
Mother Wanda has another nugget for us. Fix it so you not praying all the time
Woo!
for something you might need.
That's what I was speaking on in the beginning. That's where I was getting at. God, you said you would bless me with a house. God said you would do this. You would, Lord, you said just claim it and name it. And God is looking like I had to preach a sermon on something like that before. God looking like I told you to do something because faith without works is dead. I
Mm.
told you do this work, invest in yourself.
Mhm.
Go through the work of getting your credit fixed the right way and learning and making sure you know how to budget and save.
Mhm.
Faith without works is dead. You got the faith to believe God gonna do it, but where your works?
But then
Faith
we also
moves
got to
God.
talk about that part of saying God said. My pastor preached on that a couple weeks ago. He was like, too many times we blaming stuff on God, and he didn't say it.
God also told us to do other things. We got deaf. We got real deaf. Like, oh God, you
Selective
must have been
hearing.
talking to my neighbor. The Wi-Fi connection ain't right. It's getting,
It's
no, God
selective
told you to do
hearing.
this, and you ain't do what you supposed to do. God sent you on this call, listening in, and you still ain't getting your credit fixed, but you still like, I'm getting that
Mm,
house and getting
mm,
turned in. Why?
mm,
Why?
mm,
Why we gotta do that?
mm. Why we gotta do that? And that's it. We get the information that we need, and we make up the excuses of why when we know sometimes things do come to us and we find out and we just got to be able to apply it. It's not saying that it's easy. I don't want to budget all the time either. Every time I look up, there's something else I got to do around here, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I
I
saw
said,
this
I
meme
don't
the
want to
other day.
adult no more. I don't want
I
to do it.
I literally had
My
this
husband,
conversation
it's funny. My husband,
today.
because our budget, of course, I take care of the finance. My husband's like, "Look, I'm living in a bubble." I'm like, "You about to have a temper tantrum because we saving. We can't do it right now because money's sitting in the bank account, right? You see all this money in the bank account. No, we gotta buy buildings. We gotta invest. We gotta, it's like,
Mhm.
but I want to. It's like, all right, time to him, husband. I love you. You'll see what happens when we're
Yeah,
able to get the stuff that you really want. It's just a temporary sacrifice.
temporary
Temporary
sacrifice,
sacrifice, long term gain.
long
So,
term gain.
and
Yes,
I
I
love
like
the
it.
fact that you truly care, Jen, because you get all these people in here to get this amazing information, and most people just need the information, need to know where to go. So, Jen, I appreciate you for you caring the way that you do.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been so rewarding. I don't know why I'm getting tongue tied. To be able to get information, when I get a call, during that week, or I'm talking to somebody who's like, oh, I really love this one, or I really like this. Like, I didn't even know you were watching because I can't tell who's watching unless like they give a
Okay.
comment or like things of that sort. But just to hear the feedback where it is beneficial, I'm still hearing stuff about crying with the firefighter, I never knew how to use a fire extinguisher, or I didn't know that was important. Or wait, I could get these benefits from my job. How did I not know this? How long have you been there, Sunshine? These are, making sure you're getting your money's worth. We had somebody for funerals, and I'm going to bring some of these people back because there's so much information that we don't know. how important our credit is. Again, because if we go today and we have all these things, somebody thinking they're getting your life insurance, but no, people trying to collect what they still, want and things of this sort. But again, we perish for the lack of knowledge. All I can do is put it out there, hope that we picking up the seeds that are being shared and that we're planting these seeds to be prosperous and not letting our apples spoil and rot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you spoke about a little bit about the funerals and everything like that. Most people don't have a will and trust in play. We absolutely do. That's included in the program. That's so important because it's not that we don't have life insurance most of the time nowadays. We doing GoFundMe because nobody know where the life insurance is. Why you got life insurance and don't trust somebody to get it? Like they gonna kill you all. Choose a different beneficiary. But they gotta know where it is. Have a will and trust in place. It's so
The
important.
beneficiary needs to know.
Right. And most people don't understand that your credit score actually affects if you have an estate and you say, I want you to be, the owner of my estate and you're going to divvy it out. They're going to check your credit score and say no. And they're going to appoint somebody who is not in your family, somebody who you don't want to do it, and they're going to receive a commission on it. So credit actually affects a lot more than what people think, and they don't know these things. And I partner with people that, do life insurance. I partner with realtors, mortgage lenders, because it's so important to have these so that people are going to trusted resources one from another and not just out there. Because what I don't want is you to have a good credit score and then you're just out in the open and someone, unfortunately, is taking advantage of you, which they do. I'd rather partner up with people, such as Shaquilla or anybody, who actually has a heart for the people and doing what they need to do for that person. And I see a dollar sign. I don't want you to see that. I want you to see a human being with a heart who sometimes a good credit score is somebody being homeless. Because what if they don't have the money to get in a new apartment and their lease is up and they're not renewing and they can't renew? Where do they go then? But if they have a better credit score, then they can go where they want to go and not just need to go.
So Shakira put this comment out there, and I definitely please talk on wills and insurances. I'm definitely bringing my funeral board back because I was heartbroken this week to find out that someone passed and did not have a will, and now their significant other has to fight to try to get their funds and things of that sort.
People don't understand.
Married doesn't mean that the person gets it all the time. You have to have that paperwork together, and if you just got married,
children. It's called probate court. Your children don't even listen, especially if it's like a step situation where they're not biological and you want them to go certain places. You have to put it in a will. We do it. You can do the will. For us, it's all included. When you get your credit bill, will and trust is a part of it. And what happens is you can sit at home and you can answer a few questions. Our credit attorneys will reach out to you. We'll send you a binder. And the binder will have everything in it. You get it notarized, and now it's a legal document. And you can change, as long as you're with me, you can change as many times as you want. So you get a house now. Hey, like you said, she's fighting over the house. Let's change your will before you done with the services. Get that done. Get that on renewed and notarized there. But most people don't understand. When you leave and you're working, you might have money in the bank sitting there that they can access and use, but there's no will. They don't even, my husband might not know about all my bank accounts. I hope he's not watching. But I want him to be able to access it if, something should happen to me. No, I'm just his name is on all my bank accounts. He's aware. I don't have any secret accounts. But it was just a joke. I like to have fun. I like to play around. I want them to have access to my accounts. And it's good to have a contingency because if you don't have a contingent beneficiary, guess what? If me and my husband are in a car together, my kids, how they getting the money? If something happened, God forbid. I know we want to talk about it, but it's my mom or somebody else that I can say, like, hey, if something happens to us, the funds go hurt, like, be able to take care of this. You don't want, and the bad thing about it is the people with life insurance, nobody knows where the life insurance is or what company we starting at. If you ever go on to, I'm trying to think of the website that we use, just look it up. It's like unclaimedmoney.com or something like that with the government. It's people that's sitting there with $20,000, $50,000 or whatever. Because the life insurance may even have your name and address. Don't send you a check because you did not reach out to them to say like, hey. And so it's money, unclaimed money sitting in the government that you could be using and have access to. So we looked at it as well. And it's people that they're like, I didn't even know this money was here. And they can have access to it.
We had somebody on for the life insurance because if you are the beneficiary and the person passes, they're not looking for you.
No, you're
So
not
that's
into
why
giving
the
money out.
beneficiary needs to have the paperwork. I'm gonna find a notary so that y'all can have a notary to go to because it takes a simple conversation. You write it down, have a notary stamp it, and it's legit. Too many of us don't have a will. Too
It
many of
takes
us
like
don't have
20
life
seconds to
insurance.
steam or less. Like they look at your ID. I mean,
Right,
it's literally like 20
right.
seconds. I don't even think it's a
Yeah.
whole 60 seconds.
It not
And
even.
we missed it.
My mama
We
was
missed
a
it.
notary. She had a little thing. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Let me play with it on papers and stuff." Sort. However, she getting a couple coins just to help somebody make something illegal.
Hello.
And
That's
it's
one
not
thing
even
that
that
I'm
much
doing this.
that they asking for. They're just trying to help you to have your future together.
Absolutely. So it's so important to know you don't want your kids, you don't want your property going to probate court, things you work so for. You say you want to leave a legacy, then put it in their name.
Mm.
Make sure they're added to, make sure you're setting it up right.
And I get it. You could change it from time to time because that beneficiary doesn't work out for whatever reason. My beneficiary has been my god sister for the last umpteen years of my life. I called it the other day. What's your date of birth? Your year again? I update my paperwork to make sure that it's straight. But God forbid something happened to her. I got somebody else in line. I
I
got
was about
somebody
to
else.
say that that's important. If your
Mhm.
beneficiary or whoever passes, please change your information. It takes
Yeah.
a phone call. It's so simple. Like,
So
don't
simple.
let this go to waste.
So
Don't let
simple.
it go to waste. And I think
So
it's
simple.
important for you to pay your insurance and not have people paying for insurance for you because you're doing yourself a favor for your family.
Mm-hmm.
You're making sure you're buried without leaving that hassle on there because it's not a great feeling to not know how you're going to be. Let the people just be able to grieve without having to figure out where the money is coming from and try to grieve.
Again, death and weddings bring out a different side of people. Let's just try to have it together. And I know that wasn't the topic for the day, but it had been on my heart because I even I had a meet with my team today. I was like, "So y'all have a will?" I know that's not in the conversation, but I just want to make sure y'all paperwork together. If God forbid something can happen, because like it's on my heart, but make sure you got it. Do you have a will? Chosen friends, do y'all have a will? Let me know. Put a comment there. You
Right.
know,
And
and
make
it's
sure your life insurance is not with your job because they benefit off of that. It's not as much as going to your family as you think it is. So make sure you have it set up. If you leave that job, what's going to happen? Make sure you have it set up so that
outside
way
of it.
you're
Mm-hmm.
exactly is being taken care of. I have several.
Mama Wanda said, I love it. Put it where to find it. Definitely have a conversation. Absolutely. Because that's a conversation people don't want to have, but that's a conversation to be had. Because if not, they be calling you all types of things while you getting yourself together to be laid before the people. They're like, I can't
Hello.
believe she did that. Yeah, put it together.
I
Have a
remember when I
conversation.
was 19 years old, I had first started saving everything like that. And my grandmother had passed away, and everybody's trying to scramble. And I'm like, well, yeah, I got money. At 19, I did not want to pay for somebody's funeral. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm
I
like, but she
see.
was grown. She could have did, and they could have. And I was like, ever since then, I'm like, you got life insurance? I told my parents, my mother-in-law, everybody, y'all got life insurance? I need to know. I'd rather pay for the life insurance now than have to do something later with something. Like,
Absolutely.
y'all have life insurance. I need to know. We need to figure this out now.
Mm-hmm.
Children, I know you don't want anything to happen to them, but even children, they need the life insurance. Do them a favor.
Absolutely. Because you never know. Gabrielle said, my uncle feels that he may not need a will because he doesn't have much money to leave as inheritance. It's not even about money you having that will. It's so much more. Just how you want things to go. You still need somebody to take care of your services, that funding for that, somebody to be able to say, this is what uncle wanted, let's do it like this, or
And
these are the different things got to be taken care of.
And I think people don't understand that there's different types of wills as well. You have a
Mm-hmm.
living will. So if you ever go to the emergency room and ask you, hey, do you have a living will? What
Yes.
happens if who's telling them going to pull the plug? I don't
Yes.
want, even though my mom and my husband get along, I don't want them fighting and bickering like, no, don't do this. Let me tell you what I want. If I was, and you do that by having a living will. That way
Yeah.
we're gonna speak for what
Yeah.
she wants.
Yeah.
That's your chance to speak up for yourself when you
Mm.
can't.
Mm.
So there's different things. You definitely need a will. You need a trust. It's not about just inheritance and finances. But even if it's a dime, those dimes add up when it comes to your funeral. And so if somebody
Mm-hmm.
needs to access that financial institution to say, hey, it was a passing, how do they know? Where do they start? It's so many banks, there's so many life insurance policies. It's so many,
Mm.
like I can imagine, I could probably name 5 of them. You probably ain't got life insurance with those 5 companies. It's probably somewhere else. How are we supposed to know if we don't talk about this? What
Yeah.
needs to be done?
Yeah.
Have one conversation. I'm not telling you to have it multiple times. Have the
Mm-hmm.
conversation one time. make sure you tell them where it is. It's in a lockbox in case a fire happens or whatever. You know, maybe you download it as a PDF and store it in an email, whatever the case may be. My grandma is in Africa. I have her stuff and information in case something happens. You know, so that way I know what's going on because what am I going to do? I'm here. I need to know where to start. You know, I can't be like, oh, where she stored? I don't see her every day. You know, so, you know, you want to make sure that we have what we need to make sure that you're buried properly. You know, people talk about, oh, they better not do this. Well, things are just going to be done the way they want to do it because you have nothing in writing.
And again, I promise I'm bringing my funeral girl back. Erica about to drop some more nuggets for us because, you know, she went through the whole thing. I'm definitely having her come back because, again, we don't know. And as Shakila pushed here, she said, and the inheritance taxes people have to pay because people didn't name beneficiaries or have people on their accounts or deeds. We're costing people money because of lack of proper planning.
Woo, jeez. You
that's my best friend.
She about to be my best friend. I'm about to look up on Facebook. We about to be BFFs.
You gonna write it, PJ? But again, thank y'all for letting me get my little soapbox because that really hurt my heart seeing that the baby didn't have a will. And just the challenges that come with it. You know, having it already set up with somebody that's gonna take care of your stuff, getting your credit together too, so that nobody got to take on your debt. Just because you die doesn't mean that all your debt dies. If somebody connected to some fund or connected to your house, they get in touch too. I know a little bit. I'm not the pro, but I know a little bit. I pays attention, you know?
I know that's right.
So good.
This is planting the seeds.
Yeah, planting seeds. That's all we doing. Oh, this was amazing.
I enjoyed myself. I wish I could give so much more free information. I can be here all day. I'm like one of the people. I'm so passionate about this.
And sometimes these go a little longer because like we get so excited, get so into it, or like the questions, or like it's just great conversation and great information to be shared. Again, I always hear the feedback where it's good, so that's always a pleasure on my part. Hey, if it's bad, let me know too. But the hope is that you're just being educated on something that you didn't know to help you for your future, just helping you build.
Absolutely. It's all about the future self. We're not digging in the past. We can't go back yet. It's all about your future. So do what you can do today. That's all I can tell people. I can't stress it enough. Many people with this pandemic, we should already understand that and seeing that things aren't promised. You know, people were dying off. People, you know, didn't have it all together. You know, you lose your job. You don't have a savings fund. You're not starting an emergency fund yet. What happened to all the money that was saved? Most people did what they wanted to do with it. Like the interest rates were super low in this market. People are buying homes galore. You know, the real estate market is hot right now because people had that. And what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with that time? Why are you wasting the time, the funds that you had? When people had you had your income tax that probably just hit around February and March, and then you got that stimulus or whatever the money was, you know. Then right after that, like, what are you doing with this? Did you make an investment? Did you start your business? You know, what did you do? Did you improve your credit? Did you get a home? What did you do with that money that you can look back and say that 2020 could have really been your year?
It ain't that bad. It's some bad stuff happening,
but it ain't that bad, honey.
We not out. We down, but we ain't out.
Absolutely.
Gotta push past it. A couple weeks ago, we talked about push passing it. Girl, I gotta go. Cindy said, Dr. C, actually, thanks. Excellent information. You know, somebody else said about that book again, and it made me wonder, you know, if I get a collaboration, you know, I can have a collaboration. You get a collaboration going where the different information that you need to know.
Absolutely. Bill already spoke to me about it. I was willing to do the same. I'm like, a whole book. But we can definitely collaborate. You got different chapters for different things, and let it go. Listen, have a workbook attached. Make it easy for them. We're gonna make it play.
I'm coming for you, PJ, with your Believe brand build a combo. I got you a book and a workbook. How about that? Got you covered. I'm so sorry, Latanya. Yes, she asked, can you Credit Karma? Is that a good tool to use?
So I don't mind Credit Karma, Credit Sesame. So let me tell you the caveats about that. Right. Okay. So they use Vantage scores, not FICO scores. Most lenders are going to use FICO scores. FICO score and Vantage scores are calculated differently. So not the wrong credit score. It's just calculated differently. And unfortunately, they don't use the same calculations as the mortgage lenders or the auto financing companies. So that's where you see a discrepancy in like, oh, I thought my credit score was this. Well, yeah, if you're using a Vantage score to calculate it through Credit Karma or Credit Sesame.
Okay.
So if they're not wrong, it's a good
Okay.
tool to use if you're just trying to kind of monitor it, but not
Okay.
necessarily get the credit score that they're going to use. So
Okay.
I would definitely absolutely recommend if you don't have anything to absolutely use those. I actually can base a credit cost consultation off of it because it allows you to see your payment history, see what's reporting, any derogatory remarks and stuff like that. So I'm not against it, but I want to say this: Credit Karma, Credit Sesame are online marketing tools. Their job and where they make their money, because it's a free service, right? We think is when you start applying for those credit cards that you have no business applying for. The loans that you have no business. Oh, you approved for this loan, pre-approved. Don't do it. That's where the buck stops. Use Credit Karma to monitor if you want to, if you will, but don't start going out there. That's not where you can get the best rate. I would speak to somebody if you're trying to get a loan or a credit card or whatever, maybe even go through your bank. Talk to me if you don't want to get that negative inquiry on your report or anything, or get turned down to use your own money. Definitely, I can help you, move past that. But Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, if you're going to monitor it, I say by all means, at least know what's going on with your credit. Get some type of monitoring system, better than nothing.
Right.
That's not something my clients use. I have another service that I use as well for them. But if you're going to monitor your credit, yes, not for the whole marketing piece. Do not fall for the trick. That's when it stops being free.
Gotcha. So, what are some nuggets that you definitely want us to walk away with, like a summary of some things that you've shared, or something that you definitely wanted to make sure that we did know before we said farewell?
So one thing, just to tie everything together, is how your credit score is really calculated. I think it's important for people to understand it, and then you'll know how to. You can affect your credit score whether you're working with me, yourself, nobody, whatever. You can affect your credit score starting as of today. 35%, the biggest part of your credit score and your credit history is your payment history. So it's your on-time payments versus your late payments. So if you do nothing else, those late payments, like I said, can take you down 100 points even sometimes, depending on where your credit score is at. So you don't want to make late payments. You want to make sure that you are budgeting, doing whatever it is you need to do to get on top of that. Anything attached to your social security number, make sure you're paying it on time. Make sure you figure out a way. Maybe it's a month you can't get the hair and nails done because you need to pay this on time. Whatever it may be, at that moment, at that time, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but you don't want to mess yourself up like that. Especially after all the hard work. It's just like losing weight. It's easy to gain and then harder to lose. So with credit, it's easier to get bad credit than it is to, get your credit score up. With my help, I make it easier, but it's not the easiest thing under the sun. So that's the 35%. 30% is your credit usage. So we talked about the credits, credit limits. Make sure you're paying under 30%. If you really want to use the bill, under 10%, pay it off. Use those 2 payment tricks that I went over with you guys. And then 15% is your length of credit. How old your credit is, So don't close out the credit cards. That's what I'm referring to. So you might have 10 years with an old Capital One card. You're like, I ain't using Capital One card. I'm closing out credit cards. Devil, don't do it. Use it every so often, about 6 to 9 months or so. Buy something small. I don't care if you buy soda. Buy something small. Use that card. They know it's showing some type of activity. Use something small. Maybe that Netflix account you got for $7 or $15, you can use it with that. It recurs, and then you pay off that $15 in 2 payments the following month. So that's don't close it. The next 10% is your inquiries, your new inquiries. So you don't want more than 2 inquiries. So when you go to a place and it says a soft credit, it's still a credit pool. So when you go, oh, it's just going to be a soft pool, it's still a credit pool. It still shows up as an inquiry. And what happens is if you have too many inquiries, it makes you look desperate for credit. And that's when they say no. It's too many inquiries. If you ever read the letter that comes back to you, one of them will say too many inquiries, too many times that you got your credit pool. So you want to limit that 2 per year. So especially if you're about to try to get a home, don't get your credit pool. Just don't. Don't fall. We're about to run into the holidays. Do not fall into the trick. You get 10%, 30% off. Even if you apply, knowing you're gonna be denied, even if you're not gonna be denied, don't fall for the okie doke.
Don't fall for the okie doke.
Yes. So, and then the last 10% is a mix of credit. So people don't understand that you definitely need to have some sort of, they're like, I don't know, my credit score is low. I don't do anything. A zero credit score is just as bad as a bad credit score. You're still going to have high interest rates and everything else. So you definitely need to have a credit score. So you need a mix of credit. So that means like installment loans versus your revolving loans. So your mortgages, your, payments, your car payments versus your credit card like loans and stuff like that. So you want to have a mix of different things on your credit.
Okay.
So those are the nuggets I have for you. If nothing else, those are the ways that you can affect your credit score now. That's how your credit score is calculated. And last nugget, get started today. If you need these services, contact me, get a free credit consultation, find out if I can help you for free, low budget, whatever we can do, what you need, how fast you need to get it done. And let's work together. Let's do this thing together. Let's change people, out here together and change your trajectory of your life. Don't assume you can't get a home. And so many people out here, they assume that they got to wait a year. I ask people all the time during the consultation, well, when you want to shoot, just go, in the next year or two. I'm like, is credit the only thing stopping? Yeah, I got money saved up and everything. So if I can get you done in 3 to 6 months, you're going to buy a house, right? Oh, absolutely. Stop paying somebody else's mortgage and pay your own.
Stop paying somebody else's mortgage and pay your own. That's the nugget. Thank you so much, so much, so much. It was so great to even connect with you. That was just like a couple months ago, that was just like ordained. And I'm so, so grateful. Thank you so much for all the information. I tagged her in when I shared it on my page. My name is Jennifer Harris. You'll see it so that you can definitely connect with her if you do want to follow up with a consultation. Great information. Oh, Mama Wanda said I'll buy the book. I love this woman. She has been with me since day one. I so appreciate her. We're going to get together after this quarantine stuff, because we doing our exercises too, right, Mama Wanda? I'm going to check in with her, make sure she's good. But thank you so much for joining us. Share this with a friend that you think may want to benefit from this information. Latanya said, I'm in Maryland. Could you still help me?
I help people all over the country. As long as you're in the United States, I have people in Hawaii, people in Guam that I help. I help people literally all over. So Maryland is nothing but a throw away from Pennsylvania. So absolutely, I can help you. I would love to.
Awesome. So good to hear. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and may you have a great evening. And again, I'll be in contact, though, to just make sure, I'm on the right up and up and trying to get my life together.
Absolutely. I would love to, Jen. We got to be the first partakers of everything we do. I just want to say how much I appreciate you, appreciate your time. Audience, I appreciate you being here and just asking those wonderful questions. It wouldn't have been such a great experience without you all. And Jen, I appreciate you for caring. Here's my hug from over here. And you look good in that, girl. You don't even need a gown. I like that over there. I think I got a pink one with some little bedazzle on it.
Sometimes you want to jizz it up a little bit.
Absolutely. Looking good.
Miss Kelly, hey, I chimed in late, but this is good information. I will be inquiring. Yeah, she's definitely going to help us out. Look, we're trying to get
I look forward to hearing from you and helping you. And look, some of these people might be sharing some information with you. Like, they're going to become out some experts here. Like, listen, this is what I learned. I know some people probably are like, who you talk to that you come educated, asking the right questions? Because we got to know what to ask out here.
We got to know what to ask.
I love the experience. I love
it. So good. Thank you again so much. And again, have a great evening. See ya.
Thank you. You too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was awesome. It has been a pleasure and honor to be able to bring some resources and some information to you. I hope that it has been beneficial. But I want to share with you what we got coming up next. So join us next. Let me find it. Okay. Join us next Monday. I was about to say Thursday. Lord. Join us next Monday as we will have Shakila Strawberry, a real estate agent, and she's going to talk about securing a home. She was a guest on tonight, sharing some comments and feedback. But again, be sure to join us next Monday as we will close out our Getting Your House in Order series, talking about securing a home. All right, so that's going to be awesome. But I got a couple more things I want to share with you. Stay with me for a couple more seconds. Join me on next Tuesday. Stay having your girl back. Turning Points for Children's Community Engagement has asked me to come back on next Tuesday, October 27th at 2 p.m. We're going to be on a Zoom call. And this time, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the toxic. But guess what? Relationship needs boundaries. So whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's toxic, we're going to find out how to find our best fit and being in relationships with people. So please, please do join me on next Tuesday. I'll share it again next week. But I also want to share with you what I got planned for November. Check it out.
Hey, it's your girl Jen Kears, and I want to invite you to join me for our November Wildcard series. That's right, I'm throwing out a wild card. So join us on Monday, November 2nd with PJ Owens, brand strategist, content curator, and author. Then join us on Monday, November 9th, as we will have Dr. Jimmy Ellis, the pastor, the teacher, the author. We will close out on Monday, November 16th with Dr. Wesley Proctor, nonprofit expert, professor, and author. So tune in on Facebook Live or YouTube Live by searching Chosen Counselors on Mondays at 8 p.m. Mark your calendars and tell a friend. This Wildcard series is brought to you by Chosen Counselors.
Yo, I am so excited for our November series. I am nervous as Jax because that middle guy, Dr. Ellis, that's my pastor. But I'm just so excited. You know, I wanted to do like a thankful kind of like month. Having PJ and Doc and my apostle, because they have been so instrumental in helping me to be able to even be on this platform. And I'll tell you about that when I have them. So again, join me next Monday as we'll talk about securing a home, and then come back in November. Only 3 Mondays. We're going to have about that wild card. All right. So as always, we want to hear from you. If you have a topic that you feel like would be an amazing for a show, or you know somebody that would be an amazing guest, email me at chosencounselorsinc@gmail.com. Thank you all again so much for joining. I love you all for real. Until next time, I'll see you later.